approximately 3.5 hours. Isn't that great? So anyway, I'm glad that that happened at least. So yeah, I made a made a toasted peanut butter and jelly sandwich. This is peanut butter on both pieces of white bread. It's toasted, and then you add seedless raspberry jelly or whatever your jelly of choice is. I used to use orange marmalade, just whatever you're trying to get rid of. So I keep having people ask me what happened yesterday, and I want to make sure that I get this right. So it's likely that this search warrant on my phone was because I didn't made the disclosure as we're on our way home from Johnson City, and gradually kids let it all out. And I don't think he's let it all out, but he let a lot of it out. I'm not going to elaborate, no. But anyway, I don't believe I'm being charged with a crime because I haven't committed any crime. There's nothing on that phone that would implicate me in any way. The right thing to do would have been to have seized their information a long time ago, the offending party. The fact that it did go kind of sideways and I asked for the change of venue is alarming. It makes me want to continue to do the change of venue because if you let justice play out, it could be their form of justice. So I got a letter dated October the 20th that they were closing this investigation. This was Scott County Social Services. And it said pretty much, although there was some, I got the letter, but anyway, but there wasn't a preponderance of evidence, so they couldn't move forward, that type of thing. I don't know what has lit the fire in this investigator finally, but I had given him every opportunity, even went by there to talk to him. There was a day that I even had Zidon with me, and we were just having a good day, and he would have been available to him, but didn't make the effort. Um, and this was 2 weeks after the guy had COVID, and you know, you get long COVID or something like that, you don't feel good. But it's my first time actually meeting him was yesterday in the courtroom because I hadn't didn't know what he looked like or anything. He's a lot bigger than me. Um, I reckon he's been in law enforcement. I would say 11 to 12 years. I mean, you can't just willy nilly get a search warrant, that type of thing. I didn't see anything by a judge signed off on it, so I don't know that Judge McClung even knew all that was happening. Um, but at the same time, Judge McClung was a Commonwealth attorney, and from what I understand, he was a good one. So by letting it play out, I don't want to be their fall guy. At the same time, I don't want to do all the work for them either. So, yeah, I can point them in the right direction, but my son shouldn't be making disclosures to me when he's already made disclosures to the CAC and Big Stone, if that makes sense. Um, it's not my job to show them where the bodies are buried or get the bloodhound out to do the work for them. It's not my job. My job is to just keep Sidon safe. That's it. Somebody comes to hurt him, that's my job, is to stand in front of him and take that bullet or whatever it is. He's already been through way too much. Um, the bad thing about when that happened yesterday and they took my phone, I had no ability to call my dad, who was having an appointment at the VA, so I was worried about him. I wasn't worried about Papaw Star at all. The day before, he had lost some color, but he was still very coherent. We had a nice conversation, and I had said, when's Chad coming? I know you were looking forward to Chad coming. And he said, I'm not sure. In the next couple of weeks, I'm pretty sure that's when he'll be here. So he was coherent enough there. And this was a man that every morning looked forward to that crossword, and gradually throughout the day, he filled it out. He was smart. And he didn't cheat to fill it out either. And I remember coming over there to play cards with him or spend some time with him, or I was getting some biographical information about anybody so I came from a background where I had an absentee father that ended up being really successful in another city, but he was from my city. But anytime I meet somebody like that starts discovering like they've got sisters and brothers all over the country. It's just fascinating to me that, as dysfunctional as people really are in reality, there's too many people out there that paint this illusion that they have this perfect life, and those are usually the pure-inners. But anyway, Ray could tell a story, and he liked his beer. That helped his kidneys, and it probably made him last as long as he did. I think he was 87 or 88 when he passed away. But yeah, Ray Morningstar was something special. He had a grandmother when he was a kid that was like a full-blooded Native American. And if you weren't listening, she had a thimble. She was always doing stuff with her hands. She had a thimble. She would tap you on your noggin, like, hey, listen. So all the kids were scared around her because she hit them with that thimble, just peck. He was really good with Zayden. Back when I was married to Zayden's mother, he was really good with Rika. He would sing songs and different things, and I just have fond memories of him. And but I found out yesterday evening about 6 p.m. because I turned on a new phone to replace this other phone that had been hijacked for an investigation. So my family needed me all day and weren't able to get me. That wasn't nice. That wasn't fair. Then I had to find out, 6, 7 hours later when they've been frantically looking for me and couldn't get me because that phone was going straight to voicemail. So who knows? I just hope they take care of my phone. Search and seizure like that, and habeas corpus, all these things that we're supposed to be protected by these days. The Patriot Act affords them the opportunity to just do whatever they want in law enforcement, and it comes across as being a bully. The right thing to do would be to pull me in an office, ask for permission. I would have willingly just give it to them. But at the same time, I shouldn't have had to lose access to my family during that time frame. What if it had robbed me of a final farewell to, my hero in the world, Roger Moore? That would have really pissed me off. And I know it's better to be pissed off than pissed on, unless you're Donald Trump. But anyway, this app is using full screen, the blah, blah, blah. See, I'm not good with this stuff. Then this phone is different than the other phone. So I've only been live for 7 minutes already. I don't mean to be live for 7 minutes. I'm not disclosing anything that's sensitive, but you all know who my son is. That's kind of hard not to. But I have a First Amendment right, just like you all do. That shouldn't be censored, especially when all I'm doing as a father is trying to keep my son safe. And I've been under the impression for how many years now that I'm about the only one doing the legwork to keep him safe. Because Child Protective Services in Tennessee sure as hell hasn't kept him safe. And they know it. I know that when he shows up on a Monday with a mark, I better report if he says where it came from. And and I have for, since December 2020. I think that was when it was. I had this dark moment, if you will. That's where I got this scar. But I've been a chronic sleepwalker since I was in the service. There's things you see, things you do, you never can take back. Hang on, I'm getting a laundry reminder. Alexa, reminder off. Thank you. But anyway, I got to take and put the stuff in the washer, in the dryer, that type of thing. While Mom's here, she's back with me until early January. I'm of course washing her clothes too and taking care of her, and she's helping me with Zayden as much as she can. But her health just isn't what it was before she had that surgery. I'm very lucky, very fortunate that my brother lives in Houston, like 5 minutes from MD Anderson, the greatest cancer hospital our nation has. So she went down there for the best care, and we could stay away from Ballad altogether. But anyway, can let this play out. I still have the option to change venues. Shouldn't have to do that. I hope they realize that all I'm doing is poking and prodding and trying to keep my son safe. So, November 2nd in Kingsport, we will go before Judge Toohey at 9 a.m. for a hearing and hopefully get a continuation of this protective order because he doesn't need to be anywhere around his MOM. So, and for 2.5 years, he never calls her mom. He calls her by her first name. He's done that, all that time. I kind of feel bad when Choo Choo was here because all Zayden needed was a mother figure, to give him his confidence. And he had that with her. And he ended up calling her mom and things like that. And we would make these funny videos. We'd be on the road singing songs and different things. And he would call her mom, Well, I didn't realize that Mary Lou was watching every single video that we did. So whenever I was returning Zayden on the weekends, he was getting severely punished. She was pitting him on his knees with his arms outstretched. She was squeezing his knuckles together, like manipulating his fingers, hitting him on the tips of his fingers, balls of his feet. And we have a witness in the home that saw this multiple times and just couldn't get her to stop. And here this person was trying to save his marriage. And then finally he realized after a while that, no, if I'm complicit in this, then I'm just as bad as her. But he never hurt Zayden in any way. In fact, Zayden asks for him all the time. And because there's no protective order to keep my son from talking to him, I let him talk to him because he's a good dude. He's also a combat veteran. He was a Marine. I think a lot of him. I respect him as Zayden's meat shield all that time. Yeah, got pictures of him wearing an eye patch, scratches on his face, pieces of his face falling off where she had hurt him, but by hurting him, she wasn't hurting one of the kids. So, yeah. Not trying to tell law enforcement how to do their job, but they've had enough evidence there to have stepped in a long time ago. So, and they haven't. They just haven't done it. So, yeah, I know we're actually really live right now. Normally, it doesn't go live. It delays, and then you have to take it off of like an unlisted status, that type of thing, especially if it is. Now, this is not made for kids, so I would never say it's made for kids or anything like that. But I can't even see if anybody's watching, and I don't even care. I just want this documented because why should I trust the system? It failed my friend Harry Bowyer. It tried its best to fail my friend Burkett McInturf, but he was determined. He knew his stuff, and I learned a lot from him. Yeah, but the thing about Papaw Ray is I'm really going to miss that guy, and it was a no-brainer that when I found out that I had to let Zayden know too. So last night, it was probably about 8:30 at night. I had Zayden sit on the step. We just sat there together, and I said, "Hey, Papaw Star's gone." He said, "What do you mean?" And I said, "Well, he went to be in heaven with his wife, Velma." Aw. No, Velma and Zayden had the same birthday, May 2nd, so that's kind of beautiful too. But I don't know how these songs come to me and stuff, but when I do like a suggested listening, I didn't know that Chances Are came out in 1957, around the same time that they first met. Ray was too young at that time for Velma. I think she was 4 or 5 years older than him, and he was like 15 or 16 years old when they met, and he was enamored by her, just fell in love with her. And of course, he was way too young, and that didn't happen. But later on, it did, and then they were married. I want to say 57 years. They're married 57 years, so they got married in the early 60s at some point, or right around the same time Dad was in high school, and probably Barbara was his first love, and he was fixing to ship off to Vietnam. Yeah, 57. Yeah, that would make sense. So anyway, I'm gonna go ahead and get off here. I don't want a big long live video, and I actually don't want to. I don't want to give any of you all false hope at all, but I'm an optimist. I've always been an optimist. I'm not a pessimist in any way. I don't want to be around pessimists. I don't want to be around negativity. I want to stiff arm that. I'd be a really good fullback if I was given the ball here. But at any rate, I'm not looking for advice or anything like that. I'm not saying what do you all think. You know, a lot of people do that. Leave a comment below, all that junk. I could care less. Um, I know in my mind what has to happen here. Um, if this does go to full blown trial and everything, sure, yeah, I would love to have a lawyer standing with me, not ahead of me, because there's no way they would be familiar with everything. There's nobody out there that cares more about my son than me. Period. All right, guys. Have a good day. Thanks for watching. Be safe.